Thank you, sir, for making it short and sweet. And before I forget, I should thank the management of this college, Karpova Medical College, for making it happen, and also Dr. Brigadier Pillai Sahab for having me here. You have noticed that last slide, stay hungry, stay foolish. I try to do that. So let's see whether I am successful or not. The topic which was allotted to me is different techniques in research and selection of an appropriate method. The point is, any research, leave alone biomedical research, any research, you will see, what you see will depend on how you see it. Okay? What you see will depend on how you see it. For instance, you can have this object, and you can say that I'm only going to do a naked eye inspection, okay? Naked eye. So this is something black in color. It is shaped like this. It fits into my palm. Notice I have not touched it yet. Okay? But if I say I'm going to do a naked eye examination and also touch it, then I can know it is very light, it is very hard, it is not malleable. Okay? Further, someone can do, a microscopic examination. Someone can do crystallography examination. Someone can do X-ray diffraction of this. But please remember, just because the person who is doing an X-ray diffraction or a crystallography is not doing much better than naked eye. Okay? What I mean is, when we go to see a movie, we don't take a microscope with us, do we? Yes or no? Or do we go and touch the screen? We don't do that. So you can do very good research even with basic things, okay? Right. Now in the hierarchy of research, the first is, descriptive studies, research, descriptive studies. Please hold your horses. The elders here are wanting to jump at me, and they say, no, you're wrong. Descriptive study is simply describing what you see. Nothing more, okay? So you can describe frequency. How frequently does this disease occur? Okay? Does it occur more in men, more in women, more in children, more during the weekends, more in summer, more in winter, among the malnourished or not? Frequency. You can describe frequency. You can describe the natural history of a disease. What happens? First there is some prodrome, and then go on and on. By the way, please understand, we are still not through with the natural history of HIV. Even after so many years, we still do not understand the natural history of HIV. And then descriptive studies can give you possible determinants. This is why it has occurred, which is called hypothesis. Okay? Hypothesis. Now what is a hypothesis? I want to spend a little time on this. What is a hypothesis? A hypothesis is a statement which expresses the relationship between two or more variables. Two or more variables. For instance, my hypothesis is the water in this bottle is hot. What are the two variables? The water and its temperature. Okay? Very good. Relationship between two or more variables. Notice there is no comparison group in a descriptive study, and there is no assessment of association. Okay? We are just describing, so many people are elderly, so many people are young, so many are women, so many are children, they have this disease, they don't have this disease. That's all we are doing in a descriptive study. What do you notice about this slide? How many colors? 3 colors? Oh, you're good research workers. You see that red dot, red dash? I'm saying this because many people, even now, after many years of experience, miss out that dash, okay? So it is cross-sectional dash there. Now cross-sectional studies are, like a snapshot, a picture. You come and take a picture. For instance, if you take a picture at this point, in this It will appear a little different after, some people have left or after some people have come in. It's called a snapshot. They're also called frequency studies. They are also called prevalence studies, okay? How many people in this hall are wearing specs and how many aren't wearing specs, okay? We'll see a little more about prevalence towards the end of this session. So you can record the outcome, okay? How many people have lung disease and how many people smoke. That's all you can do. What you cannot do is, relate the lung disease to the smoking. For instance, you can describe how many people have arthritis and how many people have obesity, but you cannot say that obesity has led to arthritis, or you cannot say arthritis has led to obesity, okay? Then we come to case control studies, okay? Case control studies. In the case control study, what we do is like the previous one. We have an outcome, we have the exposure, but here we are trying to relate. Does the outcome depend upon the exposure? Which is a little different from does the exposure lead to the outcome? And this is where people have a lot of difficulty, because we all know you smoke, you get lung disease. But in a case control, what we are doing is we take lung disease and find whether they were smokers. And this leads to a lot of confusion, okay? We'll not go into that, rare and time taking, but please understand, in a case control study, you're trying to relate the outcome to the exposure. Cohort studies. Next is the cohort studies. Now what is a cohort? What is a cohort? Now a cohort is a group of people who share a common experience, okay? For instance, in this room, all the men, all the males who are wearing specs can be a cohort, okay? In this room, all the women who are wearing saris can be a cohort, okay? So a group of people who have a common experience. Please understand that, because that brings us to the question, what are the types of cohort? It can be a cross-sectional cohort or it can be a longitudinal cohort. Please understand, cohort study does not always mean, follow-up. And this is the mischief this word creates, cohort. By cohort, we always tend to understand follow-up. No, it's not a follow-up, not necessarily. For instance, I told you, all males in this room wearing specs are a cohort. You don't have to necessarily follow them. Okay? So cohort can be cross-sectional or cohort can be longitudinal. That is, all males in this room who wear specs, you follow them up for a period of time, that becomes a longitudinal cohort. Okay? Am I clear? Cohort does not necessarily mean follow-up. Now again, longitudinal can be prospective. You take all these people today and follow them up in time. It can be retrospective, okay? How many people were born in 1960 and are wearing specs today? That is retrospective. It is a retrospective longitudinal cohort. And of course, we can have a combined. How many people born in 1960 are wearing specs today and who will be, okay? So it can be prospective, retrospective and combined. We'll not go into that exposure and all that. And finally come to RCT. What's RCT? இவர் என்ன இங்க வந்து எங்களை போர் பண்றாரு போறான் இல்ல RCT, randomized controlled trial. Now here is another mischief word, randomization. What do we understand by randomization? Your principal calls me and say, Gautam Roy, here is 100 rupees. You give to someone in this room. Okay, you understand? I'll go and give it to Dr. Pillai. Will you be satisfied? Sir, if someone is saying no, sir, you will not be satisfied. Then what should I do? Your principal says, here is 100 rupees, give it at random to anybody in this room. So if I give it to Dr. Pillai, you will not be satisfied, right? Say yes. See, in research, don't be scared, okay? So what should I do? What do you expect me to do? Someone take down all your names in a piece of paper, mix it up, and then pick out. That will satisfy you? Right. So in other words, random means equal chance for everyone. Okay? Equal chance for everyone. Okay. Now there are about 150 people in this room. I take 150 names. And I add one more paper. Dr. Pillai. Add it. Will you be satisfied? Why? Because Dr. Pillai has more chances of winning than others. So you understand? Please understand, randomization means equal chance for everyone, okay? And it is a very deliberate process. It is a very carefully planned, deliberate process. Understand, giving 100 rupees to him doesn't satisfy you. I have to take all the names, mix it up nicely. Don't play any hanky-panky, you know, about taking away some names or adding some name extra. It's a very deliberate execution. It is something to do with what we want. I want randomization. I want fair play. I want everybody to have an equal chance. Okay? Not, edu vandalu parvale eduthukalam. You understand? Edu vandalu parvale. You can take. It's not that. You are very much in control during the process of randomization. Please understand, it is a very deliberate process. It is something which you want under your control. Okay? Generally, we think, you know, random means etiki poti. And my Tamil is good? Good. It's not etiki poti. It's very controlled, very much in my powers to get what I want to get. Okay? So now remember, when there is no comparison group and you're not making any assessment of association, it is a descriptive study. Very good. When you're measuring only the outcome and only the exposure, but not relating it, it's a, remember that, okay? That conundrum, arthritis and obesity. Does one lead to the other? We are not doing that. When you're doing C, looking at whether the outcome is related to the exposure, you're doing a case control study. Fine. I won't go much into it, but because, you know, United States Public Preventive Services Task Force, they have said this, so we, you know, we all like to go to US, okay? But just look at that. I want to draw your attention to this. How do you use this? Okay, just look at the first one, okay? Just look at the first one. Evidence from at least one properly designed RCT, okay? One properly designed RCT is good enough to be taken, given a very good recommendation and taken as something which needs to be followed, okay? Talking to experts and all that is also there, but it's much lower down there, okay? One RCT and whatever you're recommending is good enough to be taken as recommendation. By the way, we'll digress a little here. What is a recommendation? The WHO recommends this for this condition. The Indian Association of Pediatrics recommends this for this. Means what? It doesn't mean that it's written in, it is carved in stone and is inviolable. No. What it means is, given the evidence we have at hand, this appears to be the best thing to do. Okay, you have some better option, you have some better proof, please let us know and we'll change our recommendations. And that is why people make fun of us. In the dark, the reason is we cannot be dogmatic. We have only this much evidence today, so this is the recommendation. Tomorrow we may have some other recommendation, some better proof, our recommendations will change, okay? So, I just want you to know that other things are there, design control study and all that, but one properly conducted RCT and your, whatever intervention you are advocating will be taken. Now the traditional thing, so in the research methodologies, how does it go? And that is why I said the old ones, please hold your horses. The first is the case studies, okay? Case reports. You know which one is the most famous case report? HIV AIDS, okay? It started with one case report in 1980. One case report, okay? Of course, when they dug back, they saw that there were some similar reports in 1978 and 79, which they, said, oh yeah. Okay, so case reports can be useful. When you have several case reports, okay, they are called case series, but they have to be from the same place. Then you have observational studies and analytical studies, ecological studies, cross-analysis, so on. Okay, what is an ecological study? An ecological study is relating the place or the conditions to the health problems. In this community, the sales of tobacco is 10 crore rupees a year. And they have so many cases of lung disease. In this community, a similar one, the sales is only 2 crores, and look at the number of, it's much lower, ecological. Cross-sectional case control and cohort we have already seen. Next we come to experimental. RCTs we know, okay, deliberately trying to randomize them. Field trials. What are field trials? The classic example is field trials of vaccines, okay, field trials, okay. But you have one more there, community trial. What is the difference between a field trial and a community trial? In a field trial, a vaccine is given to only those people who require it, maybe children, maybe pregnant women, okay, maybe the high-risk people. But in a community trial, the intervention is given to everyone regardless whether they require it or not. A very good example is fluoridation of water, okay? Fluoridation of water to prevent caries. Whether you have or not, it is given to all. Can you think of another example? Iodization. Whether you require it or not, it is given to you. Community trial, okay? A little bit about outcome measure, not much. You must remember what is the rate. It is an event or events occurring per unit time, okay? Ratio is relative size. So many women to so many men in this room. Proportion. The question of proportion is how many out of how many, okay? How many out of how many? For instance, in this room, if there are 120 men and 80 women, that becomes a ratio. But 120 men out of 200 is very good, okay? Remember this term, this word, this catchphrase, out of, okay? So we'll have some question answers now. I mean, instead of, you asking me questions and putting me into a bad, embarrassing situation, let me ask you some questions, okay? Everybody look sharp. Relationship of association is possible with case control study, very good. It is not possible to make conclusions from studies that have no comparison group. Descriptive studies, there is no comparison group. You're not comparing, you're only describing, okay? You're only describing. My favorite hypothesis, the earth is flat. Is it a good hypothesis? Why? What are the two variables? And its shape. Many people, sir, I'm really happy that, they have come out with it. Many places they say it's not a good hypothesis because they are bringing in their bias. They already know that the earth is spherical, okay? But this is a perfectly good hypothesis. The earth is flat. Two variables, the earth and its shape. Correct? Very good. Assessment of association is possible with association. You are saying that this maybe causes this. Okay. Choosing the last number, you want a last number, one single number. You'll say that, I'll take out my wallet, one note I'll take out, and the last number will be that number. Is it a randomized process? Why not? Because you don't have a control of which notes have been put inside. If you had that control that I will put only these note and take out one, that is randomized. Okay? Then who put the notes in your wallet? I mean, you put it physically, but the shopkeeper, he gave you some change. The milkman, he gave you some change. Okay? Those are the people who had control over what is going into your wallet, not you. And that is why it is not a randomized process. There is this OBGY doctor, okay? He puts his steth on any child which is born, and very simple. VSD murmur present or VSD murmur not present, okay? And at the end of 1 week, he has 100 babies and 3. So he comes running to you, because you have attended this session today, and ask you, is this incidence or is this prevalence? What will you tell him? Newborn, VSD present, VSD not present, 3 have VSD murmurs, 97 don't. Incidence are, prevalence are. This is where, I said we'll come to prevalence a little later. It is actually a proportion. Yes, you may argue that prevalence is also a proportion, okay? Prevalence is also a proportion, but this one is specifically a proportion. I'll tell you why. You just bear with me when I act out a scene, okay? All of us are rice eaters. Rice eaters. So how do we go to buy rice? I'll tell you. You go to a shop, 6-7 bags of rice open here, and a whole lot of bags of rice there. I'll tell you what you do. That's what you do. You know what I do? You want to see what I do? What am I doing? That is what happens in a hospital, okay? That is what happens in a hospital. In a hospital, you don't get people only from one background, one community. You get people from different communities. So calling it prevalence is not really correct. It is proportion, because some women came from this village, some women came from this village, some women came from this village, and 100 of them had babies, 97 without, 3 with. Clear? Okay. In a factory every year, 4 men and 6 women resign from work. What is the rate of resignations? How many? What is the rate of resignation? Rate is 10 resignations per year. 10 resignations per year. What is the ratio of men and women? 2:3, very correct. What is the proportion of men and women resigning? Madam? Because you don't know how many men and women are working in that family, in that factory. Okay? Madam was very correct. Distributing earplugs to all workers in a noisy factory is an example of You may say, sir, how can a factory be a community? It will be dealt with. A community is a group of people, okay, staying there. It need not be a village, it need not be a city, it need not be a town. It can be a people working in a noisy factory. And you're giving that earplugs to everyone, whether he requires it or not. And this is something which will be dealt with, because we say that we have carried out a community trial, but actually what has it turned out to be? It has turned out to be nothing, okay? Please be careful. Okay, you can clap now.
Thank you, Dr. Roy, for that very lucid and
Just one.
presentation.
I promised Dr. Pillai that I'll be giving out handouts, but unfortunately it is in the form of electronic form. But look at the title. 20 mistakes, statistical errors, not mistakes, okay? You can find from Biomedical Journal. If you can let me have your emails, are you collecting everybody's emails? Please let me have a copy. I will personally send it to you, okay? Just read through it, it's very interesting, and you'll know, how even experienced people make these errors, okay? I would want everybody to read this. Thank you, sir.